Hello, I want to tell you what we have been working on in GeneXus 17 in the last year. GeneXus 17 was released last year in October, and since then we have been adding new features to this version. There were more than 200 new functionalities and improvements, and we have been releasing these throughout this year through different upgrades. The beta testers help us in the beta test process to stabilize these functionalities, and once these functionalities have been stabilized, they are then incorporated into the GeneXus 17 mainline and are released in each of the upgrades. This is how today we come to a version that is the most used in the entire GeneXus community. And it is here that I'm going to tell you about the news, the main news, that we have been incorporating in GeneXus 17 throughout this year in each of these pillars. I'm going to start with design and multi-experience, specifically in what is related to design. We've worked so that you can accelerate your designs, the construction of new designs, and also accelerate the evolution of those designs. We have specifically focused on 2 points. The first is that you can import these external designs with greater ease, greater productivity, and the second is that you can model the designs with GeneXus. These are 2 very important points that we have worked on this year. Regarding the first one, you can import those designs. Our proposal is that designers work on the tools that are designed for them in a way. For example, that they work in Sketch, then they can export those designs to GeneXus, and that the developers then import those designs and work with them and generate the solutions from those designs. We have verified that this greatly increases productivity, and this year we have focused on improving that mechanism, on removing all the friction in that mechanism. So much so that at the beginning of the year, as a result of experiences in some projects, we have verified that the front-end development times were reduced by 75%. This was mainly thanks to this functionality, and what we have incorporated throughout this year, specifically in recent months, we believe that through that you're going now to reduce those times by 85%. This is thanks to improvements that we have incorporated, but also Sketch as a design tool. And regarding design, GeneXus is the first low-code tool that has a specific domain language for modeling design systems. Then you're going to model your designs in this design system. Specifically, you can model the design options there and also the decisions, that is the styles. And through this modeling, you achieve a greater conceptualization of the designs, and from this greater conceptualization, you can also generate better programs. You will notice a greater efficiency, greater performance in the programs generated when using this object, and you will also achieve greater perfection in the final design that you achieve. So with GeneXus, with these 2 functionalities, you will achieve greater precision and make your design evolve much faster. But we have not only worked on design, but also on multi-experience in general. This is where with GeneXus, then you can model from one point your applications, your front end, and generate from multiple devices in different sizes and with different technologies. From a model you generate for native iOS, you generate for native Android, and now you also generate for web and Angular mobile web. And this is thanks to the new Angular generator that we have incorporated in this version. It is therefore good to emphasize that from a model, from an object, you can generate multiple devices, sizes, and technologies. And this is a sample of the highest degree of abstraction that we have achieved in GeneXus so that all this can be generated. Cecilia, Rodolfo, Alejandro, and Fabian will be telling you more about each of these points. On the other hand, we have seen that in the solutions that are built with GeneXus, geographic data and the manipulation of that data in the interfaces are increasingly important. That is why we have worked so that they can be seen in maps, in reports, in dashboards, and immersed in their applications, that you can visualize that geographic data in different layers for different users and thus solve different scenarios. But not only scenarios in terms of visualization, we have also thought about scenarios where the operator works with these data. He registers points, lines, polygons, and the work environment revolves around these maps. So all these scenarios are now covered in GeneXus, and Karen and Javier will be telling you more about each of them in their presentations. And just as we have added these functionalities, which are the most important ones, we have also worked on an infinity of others. We have added new controls, new APIs, we have updated the base technology of each of these generators behind. We are generating for the latest technologies, both in the Android world and in the Apple world, as well as in Angular. So latest technology, and that is another of the updates that we have made to this GeneXus 17 throughout this year. Fernando Paniza is going to tell you about the news in the Android world and what we did in GeneXus about it, and Jose Chagüe the same about the Apple platform. So I invite you to watch those talks as well. But not only have we worked to improve GeneXus 17, but at the same time, our partners have made progress in offering new design systems, more controls, more power in their controls, and in many cases we also did this work together, or they did it together with us. We have provided them with support in this, so today they also have some news to tell you. They have evolved along with GeneXus, and they will be telling you a bit about this. Federico and Pablo specifically, all the news about K2B tools, and Agustin and Sofia in the news related to Work with Plus. The other pillar that we have worked on is integration and evolution. And evolution, speaking now not only of the evolution of its systems, facilitating the evolution of its systems, but precisely in the technological evolution. So I'm going to tell you about these 2 points in GeneXus 17. First of all, we have worked on the API object. That is, you can now model your APIs within GeneXus. It will be very clear in a knowledge base for each of its modules, which API it offers to the rest of the world through this API object. You can then model the interface that this API offers to the rest. But not only the interface, but also which implementation that API corresponds to. On the other hand, between the interface and the implementation, we have added a mediation layer, which separates the interface from the implementation and allows its API to evolve much better. That you can evolve your APIs without having points of disruption with your customers. Also, the API object allows the API to be modeled independently of the access protocol it offers. For example, the protocol that is most used today is REST. So in GeneXus, you can declare which protocol or protocols your API offers, not only the protocols, but also with what level of security you're going to require clients to access this API. Eugenio is going to be talking not only about the API object, but also how to take advantage of this in its business models. Also, I want to talk to you about technological evolution, what we have focused on generators this year. First, the innovation around .NET. The .NET Core generator today generates .NET 5. And according to Microsoft's strategy that releases .NET 6 in November, as in November, GeneXus will also be generating for .NET 6. This is to follow Microsoft's strategy around the release of .NET versions, accompanying them, and that is what we have been doing since 2001 when .NET was launched by Microsoft. So there is an evolution in the generator and in that technology, in the basic technology that we are accompanying in the generator. Also, in the Java world, there are some advancements. There were even disruptive advancements. Oracle separated the Java X namespace from Jakarta, created a new Jakarta namespace for servlet-based web applications. So from GeneXus, you can now choose which namespace to generate for, or whether to generate for both. And this choice will be made by you according to the basic technological needs that you have. It depends on which servlet engine, on which web application engine you're going to deploy your applications. For example, Tomcat 10 already requires you to use the Jakarta namespace. GeneXus 17 is ready for you to deploy in each one or in any of these engines. Now you not only have to generate that code, you also have to deploy it. And there we have focused on you having a wide variety of technologies that you can deploy. You can deploy in private clouds, you can deploy in public clouds, and even in hybrid schemes where part of the solution is on premises, but another part is on the cloud. And in this regard, we have not only worked on the deployment of solutions, but also on more options for scalability. For example, we are now allowing you to deploy Azure functions on the Azure platform. So we're also able to deploy in Azure serverless environments, just as we could already do that on Amazon as well. This then gives you greater technological independence, greater independence of the platforms, a constant evolution, and it allows you to always generate with the latest market technologies. And these functionalities are the ones that companies and governments most appreciate about GeneXus. Claudia, Gonzalo, and Sabrina will be talking to you about each of these points. Now let's talk about DevOps and the improvements associated with it. GeneXus offers a variety of tools. The GeneXus platform offers all the tools you need to make your systems evolve, to walk with you throughout the life process of that solution. Now, there are two tools that are clearly distinguished in them, GeneXus Server and GXTest. GeneXus Server is the tool that allows teamwork versioning. It is there where the repository of their knowledge is located and from which the different production lines, the different lines of continuous integration and continuous delivery are assembled. So it is a central component for team development of your solutions and their evolution. Also, the second tool, GXTest, allows you to model the tests independently, regardless of the technology, and also automate these testing processes in each of the production development lines that you define. In GeneXus Server, specifically in GXTest, we have several new features. You can model these tests, both unit tests and user interface tests, web and mobile tests. And the novelty is that you can also group these tests in a new object called Test Suite, and then you run a whole range of tests together. On the other hand, from the GeneXus IDE, you can now record these tests and then gain even more productivity when creating or making new tests. Alejandra Mariana will be telling you about the news in these tools, and specifically in GX Server and GXTest, and Florencia is going to be telling you how to generate a DevOps culture to accelerate developments. Let us now move on to the fourth pillar, that of critical mission. From the beginning, GeneXus has been specifically designed to create mission-critical solutions. And we have also put a lot of emphasis on that this last year, because many tools are required to create this type of solution. It is necessary to generate for multiple technologies. You need to deploy on multiple technologies, and also need to integrate all this solution with multiple other solutions and technologies. In this regard, we have worked fundamentally on 2 points. The first is a central aspect that concerns each of the components of your solution, which is security. And secondly, we have worked to support the evolution of these systems and the evolution specifically of the architectures of those systems, making it easier in this sense. Regarding the first point, that of security, it is a constant work to improve the quality of the generated code of the libraries that we provide along with that generated code. But not only our libraries, we also have updated third-party libraries. So this gives an advantage, always being aligned with the latest GeneXus version, thus obtaining these benefits of maximum security in your solutions. And regarding GAM, our central component with which you can model security in your knowledge base, we have made it easier in the sense that you do not have to remember passwords. We have gotten to the latest trends in this regard, making it easier to use one-time password and also further securing solutions with multi-factor authentication. On the other hand, providing security solutions when we are in microservice scenarios, we have added support for specific protocols for the security of services such as SSO REST and Secure Service Token. Speaking now of identity providers, if you have an identity provider in your company for the different solutions and that identity provider is also generated with GeneXus, you can now make that identity provider in turn delegate the identity to a third party. So you can achieve that. You do not have to host the passwords of your users, but delegate that, for example, to Google, LinkedIn, or other providers. And speaking of identity providers, we have added support for a new protocol for these providers and entities, OpenID Connect. And with this, we have completed the range of protocols most used in the world to integrate with providers. And this gives us a huge range of providers with which we can integrate into GeneXus solutions. Also, and continuing with the security issue, we have included in GeneXus, in the IDE of GeneXus Security Scanner, a tool that allows us to run a static analysis of the code. So you can run this on your knowledge bases, analyze the code, and already inspect in an early way the security risk that your application harbors. This security scanner cannot be used only in the IDE, but also within the DevOps process, that is, within the lines of continuous integration, thus also automating this part of security and taking care of the safe evolution of your system. This is what Alejandro and Silvia are going to be talking about. They will be telling you about these tools specifically, and Gerardo is going to tell you, based on his consulting experience, the importance of solving this holistically in your projects. Let's now talk about the architecture of your solutions and the improvements that we have in GeneXus around this, in which we have worked a lot in GeneXus 17, specifically around this, which is that you can evolve those systems, and that while the systems evolve, architectures may evolve too. We ourselves live that need in the coronavirus project. First, we had to deploy a first solution in a very few days, and we did that in a monolith structure. Then in a few more weeks, we have evolved the system grew, and we needed to move to a mini services scheme. Why? Because we wanted to deploy different components at different times. Finally, this year, with the new requirements around vaccination systems, we added all that layer to this system, and this module was actually based on a microservices scheme. So that need to evolve architectures as systems evolve is true. And we at GeneXus decided to provide an easier way to do this. And this is what Gonzalo and Gaston are going to be talking about. So here is just an overview of the news in GeneXus 17 throughout the last year and the focus we have placed on each of these different pillars. GeneXus 17 is then ready for you to develop your mission-critical systems with the latest version. It is a low code and it is future-proof, and this is GeneXus. It's an honor for us to be able to support your projects. Thank you.